6 is covers ratio and rate. So pause the video to write down these two vocabulary words. 1. A ratio is the quotient of two numbers or measures in the same units. It shows the relative size of two or more values. It's possible to compare three or even four units as well. A rate is a ratio that compares two quantities of different units. They may be expressed as decimals or mixed numbers. They simplify to a per unit form, so the denominator in a rate will normally be 1. Okay, so a ratio. These three examples at the top of the page are examples of ratios. Now, it's really important that you simplify ratios as you would a fraction. So if we look at this first ratio, we see that it's 12:6, which is a 12:6. The middle has the word 2, so instead of a colon it uses the word 2, 8:24, and the last is 12/21. So let's work with the most familiar example, 12/21. 12 and 21 share a factor of 4. 4 goes into 12 3 times and into 21 7 times. So this ratio simplifies down to 3/7. Now in this case we have an 8:24. 8 and 24 share a factor of 8. So it's a 1, 2, 3 ratio. And this last one, 6 and 12 share a factor of 6. So it's a 2:1 relationship. And please note that a ratio is said to be written in lowest terms if the two numbers are relatively prime. Here's an example. There are 9 players on a baseball team. 4 of these are infielders. Find the ratio of infielders to outfielders. Well, if there are 4 infielders, then there has to be 5 outfielders. So that's a 4:5 relationship. Now you could have written that relationship as 4:5, 4:5, or 4/5. Just depends on your preference. And your book asks you to write it in all 3 different ways. Okay, so here's one that's a little bit different. I want you to try it on your own, but I'll read it aloud first, and then you can pause the video. It takes Sydney 4 minutes to mix some paint. Sydney can paint a room in 3 hours. What is the ratio of time it takes Sydney to mix the paint to the time it takes her to paint the room? Pause the video and try this on your own. Press play when you're ready. Okay, now more than likely, I bet you wrote that the relationship is 4:3. But if you notice, it's 4 minutes to 3 hours. And this isn't quite correct because we're comparing minutes and hours. These are not the same units. So we'll have to convert them so that they are the same. Now I know that there are 60 minutes in an hour, so 3 hours is the same as 180 minutes. So this relationship is the same as having 4 minutes to 180 minutes, which will then simplify down to, okay, so 180 is divisible by 4. to 45. Please notice that I wrote my ratio in simplest form, as you should as well. Okay, rewrite each ratio so that the numerator and denominator are expressed in the same unit of measure. Pause the video, try these on your own. Press play when you're ready. Okay, so we have $2 to 50 cents. Well, I know that there are 100 cents in a dollar, so this is the same as saying that I have 100 pennies or cents. Oh, I meant to say 200. 200 cents to 50 cents. Not to be confused with the wrapper. And then you can simplify that down to 4/1. So it could be written as 4/1 or 4:1 or 4:1. Okay, so 5 months to 2 years. We know that there are 12 months in a year. So in 2 years, that's the same as having 24 months to 5 months. So you could write it as a fraction, like 5/24 or 5/224 or 5/224. Either way. Now let's move on to rates. So most likely when you hear the word rate, probably the first thing that comes to mind is speed. So if you're driving in a car somewhere and your parents are going over the speed limit, that means their miles per hour, their miles per 1 hour is exceeding the speed limit. So if it's a 55 miles per hour speed limit and they're traveling 70 miles per hour, they may get a ticket, and they're also going over the recommended miles per hour. Miles per gallon is another time when you'll see that, kilometers per liter, kilometers per hour, etc. So here's an example. Mrs. Suarez went 258 miles on 12 gallons of gas. Express the rate of fuel consumption in miles per gallon. Okay, so miles per gallon. Well, I know that she traveled 258 miles for 12 gallons. So she used 12 gallons in order to travel 258 miles. So I want to figure out her miles per 1 gallon. So rate is, the denominator is normally 1. So it's really just like creating an equivalent fraction. 12, in order to get from 12 to 1, we have to divide by 12. So if we divide the denominator by 12, we divide the numerator by 12, and we end up with a decimal, so we have 12 and 5/10 miles per gallon, which is decent. She gets pretty decent gas mileage. I mean, she can travel, on 1 gallon, she can travel 12.5 miles. Okay, this is your Mathlete shot problem of the night. A car travels about 25 miles on 1 gallon of gas. About how far can the car travel on 8 gallons of gas? It's either A, B, C, or D. All right, I'll see you guys during the next class. Thank you for watching.